continue to pour into the office of the Gazette, giving eyewitness accounts of the new and more daring raids on the ranches in this territory. But some are even perpetrated in broad daylight, displaying a boldness that indicates the outlaw and not the law enforcers are in command of this territory. Well, how do you like that?
How much longer is the government going to let this go on before it sends out a troop of cavalry?
They never do nothing until it's too late to do any good.
Well, I say we should string them up.
Well, that's a good idea, Frank, but there's one little thing that you're overlooking. We've got to capture them first. Do you boys want to go with me?
I'll go along.
The outlaws stopped at nothing and used every shady trick in the book, even to inciting the Navajos and Sioux Indians with liquor, then turning them loose on helpless citizens in one end of the town while they looted and plundered in another part. Men were brought in to quell this wild country. Men like Wild Bill Hickok, Wyatt Earp, and others like Doc Holliday came too. But the killings and wanton murder went on. Ranches were raided, horses and cattle driven off. Banks were bolted open and robbed. Gold shipped by stagecoach was taken in broad daylight. But the West was young and offered a challenge to good and bad alike. People poured in, people like Deke Gentry, who wanted the West for what he could take from it. Others came who wanted the West for what it would give them. Call them pioneers, or farmers, or cattlemen, or lawmen. But it is of such people this story is being told.
Aces and eights, a dead man's hand.
Sorry, Bill, but two pair won't beat three kings. Come to think of it, though, that's the first time I've seen aces and eights since Wild Bill Hickok was killed down in Abilene.
Something isn't done, and soon. That dead man's hand might be predicting our death. I can't understand why the president doesn't put a stop to this by declaring martial law.
The only way to do is to send a troop of cavalry out here if you want any law and order around this part.
Oh, just a minute, gentlemen. The West is young yet. Well, you can't put out a burning building with just one cupful of water. You've got to use lots of it. While all this robbery and killing was going on, the president did do something about it. Now, the territory's too young yet to hold a general election, but we are going to have a new territorial governor, and an honest one at that.
Who is he?
Well, a fellow by the name of Tom Emery, one of the squarest, shootingest hombres that ever put foot in the district. He was in the Civil War under Grant. After the war was over, he came out here and settled down on a ranch.
Why haven't we been informed about this?
Well, the facts couldn't be made known, and they can't until Emery gets to Capital City. Otherwise, I doubt if the outlaws would even let him get there.
When is he going to leave?
Well, the marshal office is sending out a man to see that he gets there safe. He ought to be arriving today, or at least sometime tomorrow.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear about this.
Care for another game, Ed?
No, I think I'll be going upstairs. There's a lot of work to do. See you later, boys.
All right.
You fellas care for another hand?
I don't mind. I'll play a couple. How about you, Charlie?
Yeah, deal me in. Stays don't get here for an hour yet.
The usual.
Same.
Beat it.
must be Marshal.
All right, let's take it.
Takes care of the marshals.
Yeah, he won't be doing no more riding for a while.
Let's get out of here before we're recognized.
5, 10, 15, 20. Now, there's your change, ma'am. And I'm sure you're going to have a very pleasant trip. Because Joe is one of the best drivers we have in this part of the country. And he always takes special care when he has ladies in the coach.
I'll take the bag.
No, never mind that. We'll take care of it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye, ladies.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Well, hello, ladies. How are you?
How long will it take us to get to Bodie?
Well, it shouldn't take over 4 or 5 hours. They're putting a fresh team on the coach now.
It's been over a year since my sister and I have been home. We're mighty anxious to be on our way.
Howdy, Charlie.
Well, hello, Joe. This is our driver, Joe.
How do you do? You got any passengers for me?
Yes, I have, and they're all women, too. So you got to drive mighty careful on this trip, Joe.
We'll be ready to go in a minute if you want to go out and get aboard the coach.
Oh, thank you, driver. Come along, Sue.
How was the trip, Joe?
Almost had a little excitement this time. Thought for a while it was a holdup. 3 men were chasing a lone rider for all of her worth. Ain't heard so much shooting since Geronimo was on the warpath.
What'd the rider look like?
Well, so far away I couldn't tell, but he was sure hightailing it. Last I saw of him, he rode over a ridge. Those 3 highbinders right on his heels, and still shooting, too. Did you want to take it for the stage, mister?
Guess not. Reckon I better stay behind this time. You see, I got a weak heart, and too much excitement might do me in.
Well, I guess the boys must have that team hooked up by now. Take it easy, Charlie.
Yeah, good luck.
Sorry you're not coming with us, mister. See you around, maybe.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
Is your name Charlie Jones?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, then you're just a fella I want to see. My name is Jones, too. Fuzzy Q. Jones.
Well, of course, from the marshal's office. Come on back here. How are you?
Oh, fine.
Good.
Hey, I heard that driver talking about 3 curly wolves chasing a lone rider. You don't suppose they could be chasing that partner of mine, Lassereau, do you?
Well, it's possible, but not probable, because your partner was chasing them.
How'd you find out all this?
Well, he told me.
That's right, Fuzzy. Those Renahans gunned down an innocent cattle buyer thinking it was me. Charlie, it seems funny they knew we were coming. Did you tell anybody?
Well, only a few of the boys, but they're just as interested in having law on the territory as I am.
Maybe one of them isn't as interested as he seems to be.
You see, I told you we shouldn't come in here separately with my nose itching the way it was. I knew something was bound to happen, but you wouldn't believe me. Now, if we'd have rode in here together as before, we'd have counted for them 3 Jaspers.
Charlie, it puzzles me. Why doesn't whoever's behind all this go directly to the source and make an attempt on Emery's life?
Yeah, why don't they?
Now, I knew you were going to ask that. Now, as long as Emery stays on the ranch, he's not a threat to any of the outlaws. But as soon as he leaves there and heads for Capital City, his life isn't worth any more than that cattle buyer they got back there. Now, that's where you 2 fellows come in.
Sounds reasonable. Can you trust the driver?
Joe? Well, I should say so. He's been with the company ever since it started.
Where do we find Emery?
Well, he lives on a ranch out here, about 10 miles, lives with his niece. Now, I'm going to draw a map here and show you exactly how to get there. Now, you come out this road here. There's a fork up here, and you turn left. Now, you go about half a mile here.
And that's the story, Marshal. I'd rather not accept the appointment. But inasmuch as my old commander has requested it, I can't refuse him. Anyway, it's high time that something is done in this territory to give the decent citizens an opportunity to build a future, to build homes and farms and ranches. And that can't be done until these hordes of bandits and outlaws are driven into oblivion.
I understand now why the president appointed you. And both Fuzzy and I will do everything in our power to see that you get safe conduct to Capital City.
Hey, wait a minute. That ain't gonna be so easy. From what we've seen since we arrived here, this is the toughest country I've ever been in.
He's right. We've got to devise a scheme.
It's Clark. It's all right, Marshal. Clark doesn't speak or understand a word. He's a deaf mute. My uncle keeps him here because he feels sorry for him. It seems he was injured during the Civil War.
It's all right, Clark. You can serve the coffee. Remember, no sugar in mine. I like mine black. Oh, sorry, Marshal, you were saying...
Oh, yes. We have to devise a way to get you to Capital City, and I think I have an idea that might work. Of course, there might be some risk.
I'm at your disposal, Marshal. Anything you say will be agreeable.
Good. Charlie Jones tells me that the driver has been with the Frontier stage line since it began. We'll have Fuzzy ride into town and make contact with Charlie Jones. I'm sure they must have a spare stagecoach. We'll have it brought out to the ranch after dark. Do you have any fresh horses, Governor?
Why, yes, I have.
Then tomorrow morning, we'll hitch up a fresh team and head for Capital City.
Fine.
Say, that's not a bad idea. When that regular stage here goes out on its normal run, nobody will be the wiser. Hey, wait a minute. If that regular stage goes out on its regular run, then who's going to drive the other one?
Well, since I'm going to be riding the ridge, you are.
I are. I is. I am. Yes, I am.
Anything more?
That's all there was to it. The marshal and a new governor will leave at dawn.
It's pretty slick, Ed. You know that marshal is no fool.
You're right, he's no fool. And he's not dealing with fools either. Enough?
For a while, I guess.
Good. Now keep your eyes and ears open. And let us know anything else. Now you better get back to the ranch.
See you later, fellas.
Well, what have you got on your mind, Ed?
We'll stagger the boys along the Capital City route in threes and fours. If it gets too hot for one bunch, the other can take over.
That ought to make it a real thundering trail. And I hope that marshal's riding with them.
Yeah, it ought to prove pretty interesting.
There she is, boys. The boss says that coach is carrying something mighty potent for him.
So far, so good.
That's what I'm afraid of, Betty Jo. Things are going a little too easily.
I wonder where Lash is.
He's probably an outrider,
An outrider.
scouting the hills to see what's ahead of us. He's a good man, that LaRue. Don't you think so, Betty Jo?
I'm afraid I'll have to agree on that score.
of here before we get a dose of the same. They won't get far.
Well, we sure took care of them, didn't we?
We sure did, Fuzzy. But I've an idea we're going to run into some more of them up ahead.
What do you mean, more of them?
Whoever's behind all this knows we're going through. Keep on driving. I'm going down and talk to the governor.
Easy, boy.
Good work, Lash.
Thanks. But I think we're in for more of the same.
Well, shouldn't we turn back then?
It's up to your uncle. What do you say, Governor?
I say keep pushing ahead. There's a possibility we might get through. We can always turn back.
Don't you think that'll be dangerous?
I don't think they'll give us any trouble if we have to turn around and head for the ranch.
What do you think, Lash?
Hard to say, Governor. Too quiet to suit me.
Yeah, we got somebody, all right. Some Jasper and Black rode up and started blazing away at us. Me and the boys had to get out.
Did you go back to make sure who you got?
Yeah, we went back. But the guy we got wasn't toting a badge. And that ain't all, Ed. Just as I was riding into town a few minutes ago, I seen that same stranger go into the stage depot.
What's so strange about that?
He didn't go in the front way. And Charlie Jones let him in just as friendly as you pleased.
That's your man.
Now listen, the way I figure, when he leaves Charlie Jones's office, he'll head for the ranch. Now get a couple of the boys and see that he does not get there.
I get you. And this time we won't miss, Ed.
Good.
Hey, wait a minute.
What's the matter, Fuzzy? Your nose bothering you again?
Oh, it tickles. And you know that means trouble.
You and your hunches. We better get a move on. It'll be dark in an hour.
You know my nose just ain't itching for nothing.
Well, maybe you're right. We'll split up. You ride the ridge, and I'll stay on the pass. Meet you on the other side.
men. Finish him off.
Turn him loose, and I'll get him on the run.
I ought to fill the rest of you full of lead. Now, don't make any false moves because my trigger finger is getting itchier in my nose.
Thanks, Fuzzy. Conway, pull off your gun belt.
You heard what the man said.
Now, tough guy, let's see how you can do in a fair fight. Now get this, Conway. I don't know where you fit into this puzzle, but I intend to find out. My advice is to get out of the country while you can still walk.
And take this mangy coyote with you before I skin him alive and use his hide for a rug.
Hey!
Here they come. Move over, Governor. even if we get those outlaws back there, I think there'll be 100 more ahead of us. I think we'd better turn around and think of something else later.
Whatever you say, Lige. I'm with you.
Boy, get out there. Come on! Fuzzy! Turn around and head for the ranch.
Ease up, boys. Now, come on. Turn around there. Oh, easy. Oh! Hey! They're turning back.
What do we do now?
Well, first of all, we'll get you folks back to the ranch. Then I have an idea I'll tell your uncle about. It might work.
How'd it go? Just like clockwork, Ed.
Good. Call the boys in and have them pour themselves a drink.
Come on in, men, have a drink.
Go ahead.
The guy didn't have a chance. They got a couple of our boys, but when the second bunch piled into them, they turned around and started back for the ranch.
Are you sure they went back?
Yeah, Conway and I trailed them along the ridge and watched that stagecoach go right back to the ranch. They got back all right.
What's the matter with you?
I stuffed one of their slugs in the shoulder. Not too bad.
Well, I don't see why we shouldn't celebrate the first round.
What do you mean, the first round?
You don't think Emery's going to stay at the ranch, do you? If you do, you're dumber than I thought you were. As long as he has those two marshals over there, they're going to make another attempt to break through.
Well, I wouldn't worry about that too much. If they try to run that stagecoach through again, they're just going to get another dose of the same thing.
Yeah, maybe three of them. Just say the
Shut
word,
up,
Ed.
Conway. Now get this and get it straight. Tom Emery is no ordinary henchman. And that marshal's no fool either. If they do make an attempt to go back to Capital City, they'll take a different route.
I think Ed's got a point there.
You bet I have. And just because we won the first round doesn't mean we're going to sit back and congratulate ourselves. Now listen, Conway. You make tracks fast. Get out to the ranch and bring Clark back here. I want to find out what they're planning. All right, get going.
I got you, boss. All right, men, come on.
Okay. You round up the rest of the boys who are on that route and get them back into town.
But, Ed, do you think it's safe to leave that trail unguarded?
Of course, they're too smart to go back the same way. Conway will be back pretty soon with some information. Then we'll know what His Honor the Governor intends to do. By the way, you better let a doctor patch you up.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
That way, I don't believe the outlaws will have any idea what we're doing.
Well, just to make sure that everybody understands this, do you mind repeating it again, Lance?
Not at all, Fuzzy. You and I will take the covered wagon through Boulder Pass. The governor will be in the wagon. Now, Betty Jo will stay here. After we have the wagon through Boulder Pass...
then we transfer Mr. Emery into Joe's stage, and he carries him safely on into Capital City.
That's right.
That's all. Thank you. You can go now.
What time do we leave?
First thing in the morning. We've got to change our plans.
Change our plans, but why, Lash?
Yeah, why? Them plans seem plenty good to me.
I'm afraid your handyman understands more than you think, Governor.
What do you mean?
Someone had to tell the outlaws we were using the stagecoach. The only person that could have been was Clark. He was in the room when we made our plans.
Yeah, he sure did pick a convenient time to leave. That is, if he heard us.
He heard us all right, but with a few changes I've got in mind. I think the information that he passes on will be just a little bit wrong. Now, here's the way we'll do. Tomorrow we'll continue just the way we had planned, with the exception that when we get to the Boulder Pass...
That's it, men. Clark says the marshal plans to take the new governor through Boulder Pass in a covered wagon. Go ahead and tell him, Clark.
The governor will be in back.
You men know what to do. Schaefer and Yantis will be in charge. You'll get your instructions from them. Now, good luck and get going.
Say, Ed, I won't be able to go along on this one on account of the shoulder. But my brother's going to take over for you.
Fine. Tell him to bring a few of his men. We can use everyone he can lay his hands on. Tell him also to see the new governor doesn't get to Capital City. And while he's about it, to get rid of the two marshals.
Sure, Ed.
They're on their way. No guard.
Good. Yaddis, your men know what to do.
Right. Now remember, man, when they get through the path, if they give you any trouble, let them have it.
Well, here we are, Fuzzy. Boulder Pass.
Sure is mighty pretty. Wonder what's on the other side of that pass.
There's one way to find out. Let's go on through.
Get it.
All right, boys, let him have it.
And see if I can get myself an outlaw hide for a rug.
losing all my men, Schaefer. I'm gonna get out of here.
Have your men rush him. I'm going after Schaefer. You say that Ed West is behind the whole thing?
That's right. And your trusty servant, Clark. He is now keeping him company behind bars.
Lash, I can never thank you enough for what you've done for my uncle. If you hadn't realized that Clark was spying on us, well, I just hate to think what would have happened.
Thanks. The thing that makes me feel good about the whole thing is the fact that as soon as your uncle took office and Ed West was sent to jail, the few remaining outlaws began leaving the territory.
And sooner or later, they'll all be picked up, tried, and sent to jail where they belong. Then maybe the folks out in this new country will have the opportunity I was telling you about. The opportunity to build homes and farms. What about you, Lash? Did you ever think about settling down?
Well, There's too much to do. The West needs a police force, and it looks like Fuzzy and I are elected.
Well, this territory could use some policing itself. Maybe a little persuasion from the right source might make you change your mind.
Maybe. But you see, well, Fuzzy, he wouldn't want to settle down in one place. He kind of likes to keep on the move, and
Hi, Gov, old boy. I'm sure glad to see you got here safe. You know, that wasn't a bad idea that me and Lash had when we started shooting it out with them outlaws and they drug all their henchmen off of the stagecoach road. And you and Betty Joe rode on in just as safe as you please. You know, you're pretty lucky to have a couple of good men like me and Lash hanging around. Oh, by the way, Judge, pardon me, I meant Governor. By the way, Governor, Your Honor, you know, I ain't as young as I used to be. I'm getting sort of saddle-weary. Now, you take that Lash, he likes to keep moving along, but with me, I'd like to get stick in one place for a while or a change, you know? Now, don't you tell him that I suggested this, but, why don't you have us appointed to this here territory sort of permanent-like? Of course, you gotta make it sound like it come from you.
Does that answer your question, Lash?
You all right, Judge?
I am.
You know my name ain't Lash. It's Fuzzy. Fuzzy Q. Jones, you remember?
Mm-hmm.